for the first time in this series, have had to make 3 changes. John Rebo coming on the wing at number 5 for Eric Grove. An experienced campaign of 12 tests. Rod Morris coming in at 10, taking over from Craig Young. And Paul McCabe gets his first spot at number 11, allowing Wayne Pearce to take Ray Price's spot at number 13. Ray Price, of course, suffering from a broken thumb, and he'll be on his way home to Australia on Monday. Crowds have flocked here to Headingley this afternoon to see these Australians, to see whether we can stop them or whether we can even score a try against them. We haven't scored a try in the previous 2 test matches, and I'm sure we'll have one huge roar go up when we do. David Topless, rather unusual selection. He was on holiday in Mallorca on Monday. When he heard about it, he flew back, and I'm sure he didn't expect to see himself here this afternoon in the cold of a Leeds November. And Great Britain to kick off, facing a very stiff breeze. Referee Mr. Julien Rascagnier from Perpignan gets us underway for the 3rd Dominion Insurance Test match. And Greg Brentnall already launching one of those high kicks, those bombs, putting pressure on the George Fairbairn. Well, the technicality in the ruling there, those forwards could not move until George Fairbairn, the full-back, had gone 5 yards. But a very good piece of pressure there, Alec, on George Fairbairn in these early stages.
Very interesting to do immediately, because George Fairbairn doesn't like high balls, and obviously Australia is going to play on George and use this tactic.
Well, both touch judges obviously spotted the infringement, and it's a kick to Australia. Fairbairn using his elbow in the tackle. And Great Britain must be sick of the sight of this man, number 3, Mal Meninga. He's already kicked his way into the record books. And with 1 minute gone in this first half, he puts his sand down. He likes to put plenty of loft into this ball. We usually see this on the hard grounds at Sydney Cricket Ground or at Lang Park, Brisbane. Well, he looked as if he didn't know which way to put the ball then. He's got a very strong wind behind Meninga. It's just outside the 25-yard line. One of those kicks that a good kicker should kick, but yet very, very awkward. To the left of the posts. Andy Gregory with the scrum half already in the action, bringing it away. Brian Noble, new hooker, favouring the headband. Youngster brought in for his first test in Bradford Northern. Very good player, well deserves his success. Not a very lengthy kick from George Fairbairn, but he does have a very strong wind against him. Mike O'Neill, another youngster, coach John Whiteley brought his 22-year-old in at prop. Peter Smith. A complete new pack for Great Britain this afternoon. Well, that was a nice kick through, but the referee rightly having a scrum. Nice kick through by Great Britain loose forward Mick Crane, trying to break up the defensive pressures that Australia can put on her side, but the ball had hit referee Rascagnier's foot. And a good scrum to Great Britain. Well, I think we'll see a lot of this little man with his sleeves rolled up, Andy Gregory, this afternoon. Rather a controversial selection, this Great Britain number 13, Mick Crane, but he had a tremendous game for the Humberside club, Hull against the Kangaroos. Oh, and a a good half break, nice movement, Michael Neal. That's what we must see this afternoon from Great Britain. Get this ball moving, get away from these forward tacklers. Andy Gregory. Still going, David Topless. Peter Smith. There looks to be some fire, there looks to be some bounce in this Great Britain side to start with, Alec.
Well, isn't it nice to see that even the Great Britain players think, well, these are not supermen, we'll go and have a go at them, and why not? Because the crowd are behind them, they've got perfect conditions, and I hope they go out there and just try.
Well, we've tried 31 players so far in these tests. We'll just let's hope that this 13 can do something. Peter Sterling, Australian, scrum half, to put the ball in. Put up. Referee Rascagna, very firm in his decisions. He's one man who has remained in all three tests. And Greg Ventnor, Australian fullback, to put to touch. He uses the wind, and it's a lengthy one, gains him about 40 yards. 5 minutes gone, still no score. Well, a penalty against Lee Crooks for not allowing Les Boyd to play the ball. Youngster Lee Crooks, only 19 years of age, played in the first test but was rather sadly injured. He obviously doesn't like that decision, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, I think you'll find here that Lee Crooks definitely obstructs young Boyd. But watch this, a little bit of ill feeling between these two. They've had a problem at club level, and I think that's where it all stems from.
Mal Meninga going through the same routine as he's done all season. Very big lad, 15.5 stone. Can really put a whack behind this ball. It's in front of the post, but he's got a 45-yard distance to get that ball there. Oh, he's well out to the left of the posts. And 6 minutes gone, score still remains Australia 0, Great Britain 0. And ironical cheers from the crowd still show that that old fervour between Great Britain and Australia is still there. We've lost nothing by that battering in the first two tests. Rod ready. Strong running from this Paul Mc... Oh, and a nice dummy. But a very good tackle from youngster number 12, Lee Crooks. Australia on the attack now. Wayne Pearce. Well, I think Great Britain are making sure this man goes down. He's had a sensational tour so far. Brett Kenny, this boy's got pace. But a good tackle from David Topless. Meninga, well taken by David Stevenson. A nice chip. Well, that was a try that Rogers nearly scored, had one disallowed in the second test. Obviously a practice move, spotted by Steve Evans, the Great Britain wing. And Great Britain, I think, will be content to bring this ball away. It'll be very difficult to kick one's way out of defence with this very strong breeze that's blowing. Oh, good running, good running. Peter Smith, the second row from Featherstone Rovers, seems to be in the game in these early stages. He's looking for work. Oh, beautiful ball. Now then, Great Britain, the 2-1, Des Drummond. Oh, good running from Great Britain. Des Drummond just didn't have the legs, but at least we're seeing them move this ball about. Oh, he's lost it. And Rod Reddy, Australia experienced campaigner at number 12, quite content just to accept the play of the ball. And an offside decision, and even further back for talking. One thing people should have realised about these 3 tests is that this man, Monsieur Rascagnier from Perpignan, he makes sure that you get back. He stands no messing, and doesn't he look very firm about it? Penalties already 5-1 in Australia's favour. And it's Meninga's 3rd shot for goal. Interesting to see Ray Price there with the broken thumb, still willing to help this Australian campaign, bringing on the sand bucket.
Well, this is what the Great Britain public have been waiting for. Just look at this to David Stevens, a lovely ball, and doesn't the centre do well? He flies the ball out to Des Drummond, something to cheer about at last. But Australia there, good covering, but good play from Great Britain.
In the same spot as his previous kick, 45 yards out, full of concentration is this man Meninga. That looks good, that looks high, and it is. 10 minutes gone, another 2 points from that Mal Meninga puts Australia in the lead by 2 points to 0. And also what it does to Meninga, it allows him to break Graham Langland's record of 35 points in a test series in this country, and he's deserved it. He looks to have a smile on his face, he looks happy. Little variety from Great Britain, looking for the short tap. Yes, referee Rascagnier penalising captain Max Krilich for interfering there at that kick.
Well, this is a very good decision here. Just watch Krilich obstructs the Great Britain man, and the referee Rascagnier is dead on the spot. Good decision indeed.
Max Krilich, the captain, he'll be looking for this 15th win. No Australian side has ever come to these shores and remained unbeaten. He'll be keen to go down into history for Australia. Interesting to see that coach John Whiteley has chosen to give Lee Crooks the kick at goal, Alec, rather than George Fairbairn. Tremendous responsibility for one so young.
I'm a little bit surprised, but the lad's got a very big boot, and he's kicking goals well for Hull, and it's within his capabilities, and I think he might kick this one.
It looks a good one, and it's in! Yes, 12 minutes gone. Youngster Lee Crooks puts Great Britain back on equal terms at 2-all, and something to warm that crowd. And there's nothing like getting back on level terms very, very quickly. Steve Rogers to restart for Australia, using the wind, putting the ball deep down in Great Britain's half. Steve Evans, the winger, normally a centre for Hull, but playing on the wing this afternoon. There looks to be plenty of running in this Great Britain pack, if only they can come on to this ball from some depth. Andy Gregory, oh, a little bit of misunderstanding. Gregory looking for a forward coming inside him. David Topliss looking for the short kick. Well, referee shouts play on. It looked to knock on, but Greg Brentnall recovered it. Already Great Britain using the short kick, or the little up and under, to try to break up the Australian defence. Sterling. Oh, a good long ball to Roger, but very, very good tackle from Great Britain centre David Stevenson. Rod Morris, the oldest man in this Australian side. Unusual for them to have a 33-year-old forward. That's a high one, it's dangerous. Oh, but magnificently taken by George Fairbairn. Well, I think that was a relic from his old rugby union days at Kelso, when he would take some of those high balls. Magnificently taken. Saved a tricky situation, Alex.
I think the very interesting thing about this is they've been practicing these, and George has been a weakness on this, but he's been practicing, he's been doing his own work, and did he take that well?
Mick Crane bringing it away. Nice to see Andy Gregory at first receiver with the ball. He's keen to impress. Oh, and a nice pass to Topless. Well, already these two half-backs at 6 and 7 for Great Britain, Andy Gregory and David Topless, seem to be giving Australia a lot more to think about, a lot more variety in the play.
Well, here we have the kick from Peter Sterling. Just watch this, they call this the bomb, and what a kick it is. But just watch George Fairbairn, never takes his eye off the ball, jumps well and jumps high, and takes it very well under a lot of pressure.
15 minutes gone, still 2 points to each side. And if there has been a weakness in this Australian team, it has been in the scrummaging. Not that one. But throughout the Test series, they've lost on average scrums by 2-1, and they're losing it 2-1 this afternoon. Oh, and another good tackle. Another good tackle from Paul Rose. Wayne Pearce, he likes to run at men, he's a power man. When we think this man does an 8.5-mile run before training every morning, that's some indication of these Australians' fitness. David Stevenson, this ex-England schoolboy rugby union centre, playing very well. Lee Crooks. Oh, and a nice break by Peter Smith. Steve Evans is in space. But a good tackle from Stevie Rogers. And already this faster Great Britain side are finding the gaps. They're looking for the gaps out wide and spotting them. But the referee coming back. We have the touch judges on the field, both of them. Obviously, a punch has been given or infringement has occurred.
Well, obviously this is a decision off the ball, because I certainly didn't see what happened, and neither did the referee, but the touches are on very quickly, and they say a tackle off the ball.
Referee's having a word with Rod Reddy. Unfortunately, I think the referee has made a genuine mistake here. He's brought play back fully 35 yards where the offence occurred. And George Fairbairn now has to take the kick on the halfway line. But at least it should give Great Britain another 6 tackles to go at that Australian line. And we've waited a long time for a try against these Australians. Mike O'Neill. Well, he's lost the ball. Les Boyd, this burly Australian number 8, he's lucky to be playing here this afternoon. He was fined £500 on Friday for sending off in the second test. But he seems a little more disciplined now. He's probably felt that money out of his back pocket. And a good long kick again from Greg Brentnell, pushing Great Britain back 40 yards. Score still 2 points each. And Great Britain should be well satisfied with these opening minutes when facing a very stiff breeze like this. Peter Sterling. Brentnell coming into the attack. Brent Kenny. Quite a lot of these Australian players come from two clubs, Parramatta and Manly, and they really should know each other's play. McCabe, with this Great Britain defence, is holding firm. There looks to be a far greater resolve. Sterling, Wayne Pearce, all well backed up by Sterling, and here's a chance. Oh, what a good tackle from Des Drummond. Shoved the ball out to John Rebow. Peter Sterling doesn't like it. Well, I don't think things are quite going on the Australians' way this afternoon, and they might not like it. Great Britain still on top in these scrums. Max Krillitz looks as if he's shouting for more weight. That's a good heel from Brian Noble. When you're on your own line, that's when you need the ball. Andy Gregory wants to get on with it. As his sleeves roll, it'll be like Popeye, this character. Hope he's had his spinach. He's here again. Lee Crooks. Certainly, I think, Alec, we've got to persevere with these youngsters like Lee Crooks and Brian Noble and O'Neill.
Well, it's giving great heart to the spectators on this ground, but it's also giving great heart to the selectors. You've got to persevere. We are competing a lot better, and Australia, believe it or not, are not looking as super confident.
And I think at long last, for the first time in these tests, we are giving them something to think about way out on the flanks. We've already created, I think, more half breaks and full breaks than in any match so far. "21 minutes gone, still at deadlock." Well, Mr. Rascagneur trapped in there then. I know he used to be a hooker for Perpignan, but I think this is taking things a bit too far. Feeding decision, but a differential penalty. All decisions at the scrum are differential penalties except for foul play, and this enables Australian fullback Greg Brentnell to put the ball into touch and then to take the tap penalty 15 yards in. And this is a tricky situation now for Great Britain. 5 yards from the line. Peter Sterling. Well, I think that was a little too complicated. Great Britain have got to watch Australia for these acting half-back situations. Time and time again, the man behind the play the ball goes himself. But not this time. Good tackle, 6 tackle coming up. Can we hold them out? Oh, well in by Brendall. Here's a chance, 2-1 overlap. Meninga. Oh. Well, Andy Gregory didn't take him round his ankles. He jumped up, but he was swatted off like a fly by that big man Meninga. You've only one way to tackle that man, and that is round the legs. But at least Great Britain held him out. And another vital scrum for young Brian Noble. Yes, well heeled by his prop. Oh, nicely spotted by Drummond. Now then, Drummond's got clear field. Brendall to beat. Oh, what a beautiful run by wingman Des Drummond. He spotted the gap, he put the pressure on, and now Great Britain are coming. Oh, the lovely ball to Gregory. Oh, that was unfortunate. At least, Alec, that took us fully 70 yards.
Well, isn't that nice to see? But what about the terrier-like tackling we are displaying in this game? Andy Gregory, George Fairbairn, the lads are really saying, well, come on, let's have a go at these fellas. We're going to make them go home happy or miserable.
Australian coach Frank Stenton said that this would be the hardest game of the tour. He knew that Great Britain wouldn't let them go home winning all 15. And another offside decision, quickly taken by Peter Sterling. David Topless, Great Britain captain, certainly didn't want Peter Sterling to get away. He's leading this side very, very well.
I can assure you this is a very good decision by the referee Rascanet, because David Topless in no way would allow Peter Sterling to play this foul, and I don't blame him. It may just cost him 2 points.
Well, it might cost 2 points, but he's certainly having a good game, is David Topless. He's providing greater variety behind the scrum, and he seems to be leading his side well. All credit to the lad. And Meninga already kicked that lone goal out of his first 3 attempts. Immediately in front of the post and in almost the same position as his others. It's well worth Australia having a go at these goals, because they've got the wind in this half. They need some points on the board, I think. Nice to see a direct goal kicker, a player who approaches the ball full on rather than the side saddles type. And he gets it. So 25 minutes gone, Mal Meninga edges Australia into the lead by 4 points to 2. And this man is becoming something of a goal-kicking machine, I fear. But I think that scoreline already indicates that there's a firmer resolve in this Great Britain side. They're certainly shaping up to this match far better than the previous ones. And I think some of us have at last done our homework. Rod Morris, a very experienced campaigner, this number 10 for Australia. 12 tests to his credit, and Great Britain ball. Well stolen by Brian Noble. Gregory, Crooks, Topless, weaving about, dodging about. Good ball from Lee Crooks. Oh, but a bad ball from Michael Neal. Well, it's still anybody's, yes. Good decision by the referee. He allowed play on. Great Britain back on the attack. Oof. That's what you call a suicide pass, Alec, I think.
Well, 1-10 pass is the word, but even so, David Topless did take it, and there's a lot more determination in this Great Britain back line and the forwards, and really giving Australia a lot to think about.
There's still a long way to go yet. But at least there's something for this crowd to warm their hearts. Topless, oh! Well, I would have thought that was a knock-on. David Topless is having a word with the referee about it, and he's given a penalty. Well, I think David Topless was questioning the decision. He was looking for a knock-on decision.
Well, if you just watch David Topless, he just takes the man out of the game here. There's nothing wrong with what Kenny does. He knocks the ball back, but David Topless is stood in an offside position and does go in a little bit with the fist as well.
Well, I would agree. I think now, Alec, I bow to your sight. Certainly Australia are getting the better of the penalty deal. They've already had penalties 10-3, and this man Greg Brentnell is kicking yards to them. Wayne Pearce saw good ball to Rod Reddy. Good combination of those second row forwards, McCabe, Pearce and Reddy. Peter Sterling. John Rebow. Well, Des Drummond, he's something of a judo expert, Des Drummond, and he certainly dropped John Rebow. Oh, on a break. Rod Reddy looking for support. Wayne Pearce. But a knock on. But at least David Stevenson, this ex-file rugby union lad, coming to Great Britain's aid, managing to get the ball knocked down between that pass, but sadly receiving an injury in the process.
Well, here we have a lovely sweeper by Rod Reddy. He just knows the ball, he shows them the ball, but dummy, a lovely break, straight through the middle. This could result in a try, but watch this for backing up. But David Stevenson does well to stop this, takes and knocks in the process.
Yes, it looks to be a knee injury, but he did very, very well to anticipate that pass. He came well off that left wing. And with only 30 minutes gone in this match, Great Britain certainly won't want to bring a substitute on. One of the problems about this match and substitution is that it's being played under international rules, and once the substitute comes on the field, the substituted player cannot come back on again. So any coach has got to take a big gamble if he does substitute. But I think he'll carry on. He's a big lad, he's a brave lad. Well, he's looking for something. A strange decision. No, that's a very good decision. And you've got to really play this game to see that. It's the one hooker putting his hand over the other hooker's eyes so that he can't see the ball coming in. I've never seen that actually penalised in all my life, but I've seen it done.
I'd like to say that the referee is a hooker, and obviously he's seen it done because he had his eye on that one.
Well, that is a decision to cherish. Mike O'Neill, strong young 22-year-old witness forward, eager to get into the fray. Paul Rose, well supported. Oh, but a good tackle from number 10, Rod Morris, Australia. This youngster, Brian Noble, Bradford Northern hooker, having a fine game. He's winning the scrums 4-1, he's lively in the loose. Crowd getting behind Great Britain. That's a nice kick, forces Boosted back. Peter Sterling. Oh! Well, I think if Brian Noble had connected then, Sterling's head would have been over the pennines. Wayne Pearce. Steve Rogers. Oh, and a nice long pass to Bousted. This boy can run, he's a flyer. Oh, well, that was a good ball, a nice pass. Oh, what a costly miss. Well, there was an element of luck in that run all the way. A ball hit a Great Britain man, he played him on. But what a costly miss for Max Grillage. Here we see Steve Rogers pushing that ball on. Caddy Boosted can run, but I think there's an element of luck here as the ball bounces off that Great Britain player. And Max Grillage, looking for his first try of the tour, misses it. And it's Great Britain bringing the ball away. Steve Rogers having treatment. Play, of course, goes on in a rugby league game. Mike O'Neill. Score still 4 points to 2 in Australia's favour. Oh, well covered by Peter Sterling. This number 7, the Australians use him as a sweeper about 5 or 10 yards behind their line of defence, specifically to pick up little grubber kicks like that. Wayne Pearce hasn't really had any of those long probing runs that he had in the first 2 tests. He's been well marshalled, well policed so far. It's anybody's. And Mike Smith pouncing on the ball, but he's given offside decision. Well, it's a penalty. David Toppers is arguing with him, but he doesn't speak a word of English. What he told him, I don't know, but he certainly said get back. And Australia certainly can't complain about the referee, Mr. Rascagnier. He's penalising Great Britain very, very heavily. But he's on the spot, he knows what he wants. It's an offside decision that the referee's looking for, and it possibly was, I think, yes. Centre Mike Smith diving on that ball when he should have left it alone. And this should be a very simple kick for Meninga. And a very fortunate kick, I think. Could be a lot of controversy in that decision. But I think Meninga will gratefully accept these 2 points. 6-2, it's an easy kick for him. And with 5 minutes to half-time, Mal Meninga will be quite content to keep Australia in the lead. Australia, of course, aiming to become the first touring side ever to win 3 tests in this country. Never been done before since the history of Test match rugby began in 1908. Many people said that Australia, having won the Ashes, would not play as hard, but they have done. Well, there's quite a tussle going on between Rebo and Drummond on that wing. Lovely, oh, but well tackled. Well tackled by Great Britain, number 11, Peter Smith. Greg Brennor still keeping that ball going. Australia's beginning to flow a little now. Still moving. Wayne Pearce. But a penalty. Yes, for passing off the floor. Referee are judging here that Rod Morris does, and he does, he's tackled when he passes that ball off the floor. It's a good decision. And Lee Crooks copying the Australian method. He says, well, if they can have a bucket of sand, I can have a bucket of sand. It's a difficult kick for Crooks. It's 40 yards out, it's only his 2nd attempt. But he does have a stiff breeze facing him. But this kick in the closing stages of this first half could put fresh heart into Great Britain. He's certainly got the height, and he's got the direction. A tremendous kick from youngster Lee Crooks. And with only 2 minutes to go to half-time, Great Britain will be thankful from that young 19-year-old from Hull, pulling them back in the game. Yes, my word, didn't he strike this true and accurate? That ball was going over those posts right from the word go. Mike Harrison bringing that ball away. Lee Crooks back in the action. He's got a lot of maturity as this young player for one so young. Paul Rose, 30,000 buy from Hull Kingston Rovers for Hull in August, seems to have recaptured his form. David Topless. Oh, good over. Oh, lost again. But at least it's Great Britain number 13, Mick Crane. He's trying to keep the ball moving. He's trying to open the play out. And the 6th tackle. Well, with only a minute to half time, we've become accustomed to Great Britain not scoring a try against these Australians, but it's certainly an unusual feature to see Australia not having crossed our line. And foot up. I think hooker Max Krilic has got to have his foot up because he's losing these scrums very heavily, 5-1 to Brian Noble. And it has been a glaring weakness in the Australian side. Tapped in half-back. His hooking, in fact, has offset the Australian advantage of the wind. And if he can get that ball in the second half, we could see an upset. Moving into injury time now. Great Britain will be content with this. Oh, that was a tremendous catch, but an equally tremendous tackle from Parramatta's number 6, Brett Kenny. Mick Crane trying... Oh! Well, they certainly made those tackles felt, and that's Boyd again. What a temper this man's got. Hello, hello, hello. There's no need for that. Well, the referee, I don't think he knows what to do. He says, well, sort it out, lads. Settle it down. And there's the hooter for half-time. And we couldn't have a more timely hooter. Well, this is a pity. One thing about these test matches, they've been played in a very good spirit to date, but I do think Great Britain took exception to that tackle by Boyd. It was definite shoulder charge, and he certainly should have been penalised. We've already had that number 8 sent off once in a test match. He's been sent off in a club match, and I think that was what riled Great Britain, but at least it showed there was some pride, there's some heart beneath that Great Britain shirt. And I think that should put them on the mettle for this second half. Great Britain still trailing by 2 points, but already I think they've shown us that we've got a lot we can expect from in this second half.
Well, the first half not ending in perhaps the way that we would have liked, but we haven't got any tries to talk about at half-time. Surprise, surprise. And that's really got to be good news for Great Britain. All the points coming from goals. Meninga's tried a couple, missed a couple, then he was successful. And of course a couple from Lee Crooks keeps the score at 6-4. Boos for the Australians going off at half-time. That's something we haven't heard, I don't think, on this tour to that tune so far. We've got an Australian with us, Craig Young. That was a bit of a disgrace towards the end of that half, wasn't it, Craig?
Oh, not really, just a bit of good fun, like there's no one seriously hurt, and it takes two to fight, doesn't it?
They took exception to what seemed to be a shoulder charge on David Topless.
I thought it was a legitimate tackle, and so did the referee, but these things happen in test matches, and as I said, there was no one hurt.
Alex, certainly a good first half for Great Britain.
Absolutely delighted, and we've proved for once they're not superhuman, are they? They can be tackled, we can knock them down, and we can attack them. For the first time, I think, young Andy Gregory, I think, is having a superb game. He's giving young Kenny a hell of a lot to think about. And really, they're not beginning to kind of say, they don't look as sharp to me. Oh, maybe they're overconfident.
OK, we can knock them down, we can tackle them, as you say. We've got a little bit of evidence of that. I think it was, what, 8 minutes into the first half when we first saw the quality of the Great Britain defence.
Well, this is a little chip through from Kenny, but just watch the defence here. We're back on the ball, and normally Australia would score from them. But we play the ball here, and you know, look at young Gregory, he's right in the thick of everything. This fella, I think, is having a superb game.
Yes, I know that you mentioned the half-back partnership, the new one that we've got here, David Topless and Andy Gregory. It made a big difference, hasn't it?
Well, obviously, we're taking people on the two half-backs, and they're the main cogs in the wheel. And if they attack, it makes a lot of difference for your three-quarter line. The forwards are running off young Gregory. David Topless is marshalling his side well. I think this moment in time we're doing well. I don't think that's enough for Australia, and I think Frank Stenton will give them hell in the dressing room.
So have you noticed, Craig, that this new Great Britain half-back partnership is making your teammates think a little bit more?
Oh yes, they seem to be taking it to the line a bit more, but it's a long way to go in the game yet, and I think our blokes will settle down in the second half and finish up on top.
But for Great Britain, it hasn't all been defence, thank goodness. And one man who's been involved in our two best chances, I think, Des Drummond, wasn't it?
Well, you see Des here now. This is what he normally does. He picks the ball up in no man's land, and this is what he's good at. He takes players on. He's a strong lad. He runs through. He's never had this opportunity before, but just look at the Australian cover coming back. There's a lot of cover there. There's a lot of green and gold shirts, and that's what it's all about, getting back to cover. That's good to see from Great Britain's point of view.
And it's nice to see from Des Drummond, really, because he's played in both the previous Test matches, and certainly he's not been demoralised, has he?
Well, he's probably our best wingman, and let's be fair, when wingmen are playing matches and never getting a pass for 80 minutes, there's something wrong with the game, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, have you been surprised at the way that the Great Britain team have played in this first half, Craig?
Oh, not actually surprised. They got to salvage something out of this last game, haven't they? But there's been a lot of stoppages in the game. I think it's suited the Englishmen more than us, but let's hope the game plays a bit more in the second half.
There was, safe to say, a fair bit of niggle in the game too early on. I mean, is that's not really going to upset the Australians very much, is it?
No, it's most of the players have been through that before, and it's just like water off a duck's back, really.
Yeah. Back in at the deep end, of course, it was for George Fairbairn back in.
Well, I was rather pleased to see John, because obviously the Australians do their homework well. They give him one high ball, which he's been very suspect, when he takes it. But just watch him here. It's a lovely ball of Kenny, but just watch it off Sterling, but just watch happens. Just watch, this looks like Brentnall taking this ball. It's not, it's George Fairbairn. Now, normally George doesn't take these well, but he took that one well, and I think he's been doing his homework also.
Yeah, so what's he been doing differently? Because I know that you've been critical about George and his ability with the high ball.
Well, maybe his pride's hurt, and maybe he wants to, keep me quiet for a while, we know he's a good player, we know he can do it, but he's got to do it when it matters, and today he's doing it.
The important thing, of course, is we know that these Australians can play for 80 minutes. They won't flag, they won't get tired. What about us?
Well, let's hope we can just compete for 80 minutes. We know that Frank Stanton in there now. I would love to be a fly on the wall, because I don't think he's saying nice things to them fellas in there.
Well, we've got somebody who can maybe tell us, Craig, what is Frank Stanton saying to the Australians?
I'm just settling down a bit, and he's saying a few choice words, but I think our players took a little bit longer than usual to settle down the first half. But the second half, you'll see a marked improvement, I think.
They won't be coming out sort of uptight in the second half after that little bit of fracas towards.
Oh no, that's just part of the game. It happens all the time, and it's the way it is.
No grudges at all.
No, it's a game of football.
It'd be nice if we could see that. I mean, Des Drummond, as you say, from England's point, Great Britain's point of view, has really been involved. Of course, there was a time later in the first half, after that first break, when it came really from almost a scrum down on the Great Britain line, and it resulted in Des Drummond getting away, almost scoring. I mean, he's a man with real pace, isn't he?
Well, Des Drummond is a world-class player, and what we've got to realise, if we have people on the wing who can score tries, we've got to get the ball to them. Now we've got a three-quarter line who I think with David Stevenson, we've got to get the ball to him who can get it to Des Drummond. The lad can finish, we've got to have people to give him the running chances.
OK, we've seen what Great Britain are capable of. Now what about the Australians? Of course, they had at least a couple of chances, didn't they?
Well, I would have thought that if Eric Groth had been on the wing when Rebo, no disrespect to the lad, I thought that was a scoring chance, and I think they've missed two tries, which normally they would take, and that's what strikes me. Eddie a little bit overconfident, Eddie not as sharp as what they have been, and I think you'll see a different side. I'm a little bit disappointed with Wayne Pearce in the first half. I think he's lost, he's missing Ray Price, and I don't think he's running in the right places.
Well, let's take a look, Alec, at an example of what you're talking about.
Well, here we have Kerry Boosted. Kerry normally is a very fast wingman. He runs to the middle of the park here, but just watch him. There's normally Sterling's there. He's always there. He's the cog in the wheel. Boosted's going on, but there's nobody else there. Now that's very, very unusual. The Great Britain tackling looks pretty good there, doesn't it?
Certainly so. We've mentioned tackling quite a lot, Craig. I mean, have you been more impressed by the quality of the Great Britain tackling today than previously?
Oh, I think that probably put a bit more commitment in it, but it's an 80-minute game, and I think our blokes are just, as I said, take a bit longer to settle down. We're probably going one out more than we should, and I think our backing up will improve in the second half.
One man in particular, I thought, Paul Rose, who's new to the side in this Test series, he's looked quite good, hasn't he?
Yes, he's taking the ball up all right, yes.
Yeah. So what about the new men, Alex? Let's have a look at them. The hooker for a start, Noble.
Well, Noble's done very well. He's doing well in the scrums, and let's be honest about this. The penalties are about 11-4 in Australia's favour, and I still think the referee's having a superb game. He's never given a penalty, which he shouldn't have done. But Peter Smith is taking him on, Paul Rose is taking him on, Mick Crane's laying the ball off, and I think this is a good performance from the Great Britain pack.
What's your impression? What's your forecast for the second half?
I still fancy Australia, but I don't think them 2 points is enough. I think they'll have to score 2 tries.
So the teams are now coming back out onto the pitch for the second half of this third and final Test match. A narrow margin, Australia leading Great Britain by 6 points to 4. Let's rejoin our commentator Ray French.
Well, the fireworks in those closing minutes of the first half should have warmed everyone up. Great Britain have the breeze now at their backs, but they still trail by 6 points to 4. They've tackled well, they've made the breaks, they've shown a lot more imagination, but I'm afraid there's still more than 200 minutes of Test match rugby. We haven't scored a try, but at least we've seen some points. We've seen goals, 3 goals from Mal Meninga, reply 2 from Lee Crooks, and at 6-4 Great Britain should be happy with the state of this game. They've got this breeze behind them, playing in much better heart, much better spirit, and I still think that the ultimate destination of this match is all to play for. The referee bringing the 2 captains together. I think he's instructing these 2 captains that any further offence, any further trouble, as he pointed his thumb then, you're off, I think. He's warning these players, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's sending these 2 players to the sin bin. In international rugby, we have a sin bin in operation, very similar to the ice hockey, where a player can be sent off for 5 or 10 minutes and then brought back on. Lee Crooks seems to be walking off. No, he's coming back. There seems to be a right predicament going on here. Have we anybody on the ground who can speak French, I think? Yes, it's Crane that he wants, Mick Crane. Ten minutes, Mick Crane and Les Boyd, 10 minutes in the sin bin. He signals with his hands. Well, I would certainly agree with Les Boyd, Australian number 8, going in that sin bin. But Mick Crane, I think he must have picked him out with a pin. And so we restart the second half after that kerfuffle, and we should see those 2 players back in 10 minutes. George Fairbairn, and here's this boy, Brian Noble again. He's having a fine game, this lad. 21 years of age. Well, he seems to be organising things. He's a policeman by trade in midweek, and he's certainly giving people their instructions out there. Paul Rose wants to get Tom playing. Oh, and a nice chip kick there through by Andy Gregory. A good kick from Andy Gregory, sensing that this Australian line-up is coming up very, very fast, pushing them back. And this is what we haven't seen in the previous tests. We're seeing far greater variety here in using the kick. Great Britain well on top in these scrums by 5-1. Brian Noble's advantage in hooking there nullified Australia's use of the wind. And we could see Great Britain using that ball, kicking it more down to the corners, hoping to make play from there. Peter Sterling, Australian scrum half, to put it in. Well, he must be offside, surely. And he is. Yes, ironical cheers from the crowd. And a differential penalty again. The team can either have the choice of tapping the ball on the spot or putting it into touch. George Fairbairn lost it nicely into that corner, 10 yards from the Australian line. Now we've got a roar behind this Great Britain side. Come on, says George, come on, let's get in there. Certainly sees a lot of excitement in this Great Britain camp. Mike O'Neill driving for that line, 5 yards from the Australian line, looking for that first try. Ryan Noble, a yard from the line, 4 tackles to go. This Australian defence is strong. A long ball. Great Britain used a lot of variety around these play the balls this afternoon. Steve Evans. Oh, but well in Peter Sterling on Lee Crooks. Lee Crooks had no time to move. Great Britain moving this ball. Peter Smith. But no, Australia pushed them back 20 yards. That shows you the strength of their tackling. Andy Gregory looking for a break. And the 6th tackle. Well, we saw something of the dedicated tackling from Australia. They were a yard from their line, and in 4 tackles pushed Great Britain back 20 yards. That shows something of the strength and the commitment that these men from down under have got. Yet another penalty to Greg Brentnor. Australia back on attack. Mal Meninga. Oh, and a nice burst by Kerry Boosted. Oh, good drive from Rod Morris. Both sides, of course, still only with 12 men, both lacking a forward. Should create far more space on the pitch, and Australia trying to use it. Rod ready. Meninga. Still going. The touch judge already on the field, spotted yet another incident. Obviously, the longer this game goes on, with only 2 points separating the sides, tempers are becoming a little frayed. Looks like another off-the-ball decision with Paul Rose and Rod Morris, the 2 respective number 10s. Whoops! Well, I don't think he needs to speak French with a head movement like that.
Well, I don't think there's any problem. Just watch the 2 people off the ball here, and what the judges just come on for after the ball is passed. Just watch it. It's who loves you, Tommy, and just goes in, bang, he knocks the head in, and it's coming in now. The ball's moved out, and the Australians just moved the ball along the line, but the touch judge is stood on the far side with his flag, still waving up, still stood there, never moves.
And the referee rightly resumes play with a scrum down, but a decision for foot up against the Australian hooker, and certainly Australian hooker Max Krilich is at his wit's end to win this ball from the scrums. He's only won 1 scrum so far, and he's been penalised very, very heavily as he uses every trick in the trade to win the ball. That's a good kick, 50 yards from George Fairbairn. Great Britain back on the attack. Paul Rose driving in. Andy Gregory, Mike O'Neill. Oh, a nice sidestep from that prop forward. Ryan Noble, certainly much more pace and yapped in our back position. Ball moving quicker. An attempted drop from Lee Crooks. And it's a beauty. Oh, and a beautiful drop kick from Hull's number 12, Lee Crooks. I commented on the maturity of this lad, and what a player he's becoming.
Well, do we have a ball game now? Just watch this. How cool, calm and collected is this? Just watch this. Bang! And there's no problem. And do we have a game now? Straight in the middle, no problem. Great Britain really back in the game.
Young Lee Crooks pulling Great Britain nearer and nearer, and certainly coach Frank Stanton was right. Only 1 point between them. He recognised that this match will be a tough one. At least there's no way these Kangaroos are going home with that 15th win on the trot without a battle. Gregory, Peter Smith, Great Britain showing a lot more determination now. Gregory, topless. These are the two men in the ball all the time. It's these two half-backs who are dictating the play. And this boy, acting half-back, Ryan Noble. A long kick. And it's a touch. And it's there. Andy Gregory again. Well, he was determined to prove that he should have been in the first two tests. And Ryan Noble's given him the possession to play with. He said to me in midweek, I think I should have been in the first two tests. Well, I think he's proving himself. His sleeves are rolled up there for action. Australia's Peter Sterling to put the ball in. And he gets it. 10 yards from the Australian line. Wayne Pearce. What a good tackle from Lee Crooks. Peter Sterling, Steve Rogers, Greg Brendel. Well, you've got to go down to the tackle. Brendel's got a half break. Oh, he should have given that ball. I don't think anything would have stopped Balstead. He should have passed that ball, but it's Australia still in command, still moving it. But that's a bad pass.
Jump on in.
And no way through for number 5, John Rebo. Peter Sterling, Rod Reddy, Wayne Pearce is. This boy can run. Rod Reddy. Now here's a chance for Australia. John Rebo going for the line. George Fairbairn with him, and he's in. Yes, a try for John Rebo. Well, this man might be a reserve in Australian rugby, but when you think this reserve scored 37 tries in Australian football this season, and he's put Australia further in the lead at 9 points to 5.
Well, just when you think you've got him, and look at this, Wayne Pearce again, lovely break, knocks off Steve Evans, Ron Reddy's there in support, and John Rebo's there supporting also. He makes hard work after this because George Fairbairn runs him to the death, yes, just gets over in the corner.
And a difficult kick for Mal Meninga, way out on the touchline. Straight into the teeth of this wind. And that just shows you can't give these Australian forwards an inch. When they make a half break, they've got the pace to go away. And certainly Meninga's going to have to loft this ball high into the wind and hope that it will swirl in. Already kicked 3 so far. And this kick could give Australia that crucial 6 points difference, making Great Britain have to score at least twice. You see something of the strength of this wind now, which is getting up. Fairly sweeping in off the Pennines. It's a poor kick, well wide, well to the left of the post. So the score still remains at Australia 9, Great Britain 5. So still only that try and a goal difference. A bit unfortunate that, I think, Alec, after all the hard work that Great Britain have put into the game.
I don't think that's too disappointing. I know a try has been scored by Australia. There's a little bit of slack tackling when we thought we had them on the rack. They came back and they threw everything at us, and you cannot give these Australians 1 minute in defence.
Australia bringing the ball away. Max Krilic, Peter Sterling. Oh, and another break from this man, Wayne Pearce. He's got Kenny with, and can Krilic go in for his first try on this tour? He's got 15 yards to go. Yes! It's a try. What a dive from Max Krilic. Well, they were saying in the Australian hotel this week, they wanted him to get a try. He hasn't got a try all tour. And what a dive. It looks as if he was going in a swimming pool for that try. And how this Australian side certainly scored.
Well, I've just been saying about this boy Wayne Pearce, doesn't he prove people wrong? Long legs, and he lays the ball off well here, and look how he lays it off to Wayne Kenny. Max Krilic has never run this far in his life. His little legs are flying, and this is a try, by the way. A good dive, and he gets over under the sticks.
Lee Crooks going off the field. He's being sent off the field by Rascagna for an incident off the ball after the try had been scored. And that will be a big disappointment to British hopes. This youngster's played his heart out. Probably got a little bit too excited the occasion, probably got too much for him at 19 years of age, but he's got a great future. But in contrast to that, the quiet, assured manner of Mal Meninga. A simple kick. And so within a matter of minutes, Australia forge into the lead by 14 points to 5. And what looked like a very, very tight game is suddenly slipping away from Great Britain. And Wayne Lewis, substitute, the tour vice-captain, having come on for John Rebow, injured in that earlier try-scoring run. Great Britain, of course, now with the breeze, but down to 12 men. And Andy Gregory to restart. We've seen what Australia could do with 12 men in that second test. Let's hope that Great Britain can keep in this match. Paul McCabe. 15 minutes gone in this half. Australia suddenly swept into the lead. And these big, fast forwards are suddenly beginning to carve gaps in the Great Britain defence. We've tackled for 55 minutes, it may be having an effect. And there's the blonde hair of that little man, Peter Sterling. He's like a whippet onto this ball. Pearce again. This man runs 8 miles every morning before training session, so you can see how fit he is. Rodgers. And another off-the-ball decision. I think Great Britain getting a little petulant here, getting a little frustrated at seeing the game suddenly go away from them.
Well, this is the thing we don't want, and Steve Rodgers got the ball here, and Mick Crane goes in there, and that was unnecessary, and I hope that's not going to come into this game.
Australian Greg Brentnell kicking to touch. Australia reshaped the side. Greg Brentnell, number 1, still at full back, but Mal Meninga now gone on the wing. Kenny to centre. And Lewis, the substitute, in his normal position at standard. And here's Peter Sterling. Another chance, Brett Kenny. Oh, and a good tackle from Des Drummond. Good long ball to Reddy. Lewis. This is rugby, Brent, no. We're seeing something of those skills, but a good tackle from George Fairburn. Met him head on, put that Australian skipper number 9, Max Grillick's down. Australia now looking very, very strong. They come in these short 5-10 minute bursts. Meninga. The support play is magnificent. And this is taking some stopping by these 12 men. Well, certainly referee Rascagnes having the hardest game of his life here. And I think one of the problems is that Great Britain are getting a little frustrated. The game's sadly going away from us. At this moment in the second half, they're a little too fast, Australia. They're too strong. And frustration's coming in. I think Great Britain have got to concentrate on the rugby, Alec.
Well, let's take nothing away from the Australians. They're giving a superb performance of rugby league football. And I just hope that we are not going to get into this niggling battle. I think we're coming out of this with a little bit of glory. And I just hope that we're not going to battle it out to the death.
And yet again, Paul Rose, number 10, goes into the sin bin. In fact, he's sat on that bench more than he's been on the field this afternoon. And Greg Brentnall, Australian fullback number 1. They go to cool down, calm themselves down. So Great Britain now reduced to 11 men, Australia to 12. And George Fairbairn to calm matters down. You see David Topless controlling things, calm it down, lads. Let's get back in the game. And they need to get back in the game. Score for Australia still, 14 points to 5. 19 minutes gone in this half. Time ticking away for Great Britain to get back in the game. Great Britain hooker has worked very hard this afternoon. Sadly to no effect as yet. Gregory looking for the gap, but well tackled by Rod Reddy. That Australian number 12. Many considered he shouldn't have come on this tour. They said he was too old, but he's proved his mettle. Oh, the beautiful ball! Peter Smith striding down the field. But yet another example of that cover defence. Steve Rogers coming across to side him down. Gregory. Still going. Steve Evans. And this is the sort of rugby Great Britain should be playing. This is what the crowd want to see, not the fisticuffs. Ryan Noble, 15 yards from this Australian line. It's a good ball from Gregory, it's a high ball. Oh, but again, magnificently taken. Tremendously taken by Brett Keddy. Well, that man going to full back in the absence of Greg Brentnall. He was firm, he was solid, he was like a rock.
Well, how's this for a little bit of your own back? Just watch this for a kick from Andy Gregory. Get hold of this. Well, who's watched Kenny? He thinks, well, I'll take these in my lunch hour. And doesn't he take it? Under a lot of pressure.
Oh, and a good crunching tackle on George Fairbairn. And that man, Rod Morris. Well, I think fingers are a little cold. It's very, very cold. It's very, very icy. And neither could catch that ball. Referee Rascagnes not very happy with Peter Sterling's scrum feeding this afternoon. He's penalised him virtually every time. Another differential penalty to George Fairbairn, put England on the attack. crowd hoping to raise Great Britain. Can we get a try? Can we get in? 18 minutes to go in this third Dominion Insurance Test. 10 yards from the Australian line. Can 11 men do for Great Britain what 13 have failed so far? These 12 Australians still keen to keep them out. Mike O'Neill still going, keep it going. But everywhere these Great Britain players go, there seems to be a green and gold shirt to envelop them. Mike O'Neill looking to make a gap. And there's that blonde hair of Peter Sterling, he's everywhere. Gregory, Smith. Oh, 6 tackle coming up. It's a nice chip. This is a chance. Oh, play on, another 6 tackles. David Stevenson couldn't quite get the ball. Mick Crane. It's there, Gregory's coming. It's still going, David Stevenson. Oh, he's more. A foot short. And he wants to get playing. 6 tackles, another 6 tackles. But in fact that is the equivalent of a professional foul. Rod Reddy keeping him down. Drummond going for the corner. And he's still not in. Another foot short. Well, Great Britain are hurling everything by the kitchen sink at Australia. They've still not got over. Well, Alec, at least we're trying to get over that line.
Well, I think the Australians have got this line booby-trapped because they've never had as many escapes, but at least we're proving now we can put pressure on them, and I think we will score a try, believe it or not.
Oh, but not like that, Alec. But we're still going. George Fairbairn. Well, George would have been better to have pushed that ball out wider, I think. Mick Crane. Oh, and a beautiful ball. Here's a chance, Steve Evans going for the line. He's in! Yes! What a try! And my word, what a smile on his face. He pulls Great Britain back to 14 points to 8. And the crowd go wild. We've waited a long, long time for that try. And it's the first try against Australia in 7 successive Test matches.
Again, Mick Crane, I did think we'd score a try. David Stevenson, what a lovely ball. And Steve Evans, he does well here. Brendan there, just leads over. Have we waited a long time for that?
And 225 minutes of Test match rugby have we waited for that try, Alec. And Steve Evans has got something there to be proud of.
Well, here we come again. This is quick hands, and Mick Crane does well here. Comes into the line, lays it off. David Stevenson, a superb ball to Evans, and Evans, he's got a lot to do, Steve Evans. Kenny's coming across. He takes him outside. Just watch how he pops over. Good try.
George Fairbairn in the absence of Lee Crooks. If George could get this could put real pressure. It's in with a chance. No. Still keeps the score at 14 points to 8 in Australia's favour. With 14 minutes to go. Great Britain trying to raise their game. Interesting to note that the new law which is coming for next season, a 4-point try with a try and a conversion, they could draw the game, but we're still on 3 points for a try, and it means them scoring twice. And at least we've proved that even with 11 men we can score a try. Bringing it away. There seems fresh heart in this Great Britain side. Andy Gregory, Mike O'Neill. And he's lost it. Wayne Lewis, number 14. Oh, Malmeninga. But a good tackle from Peter Smith. And a good decision from referee Lascagna. He allowed play on. It was a definite attempted trip. And he gave Australia the advantage initially. But it was a definite trip, no question of it.
You know, this fella must have radar eyes here. Just watch Mick Crane here. It's definitely a trip, and the man's right on the spot. Good decision indeed.
And interesting, Australia not electing to go for goal. Obviously, quite content with that 6-point lead. Think they can go for a try. Rod Morris, number 10, driving in. He was one of the successes on the last tour. Rod ready. We've only seen Des Drummond in action really in sprinting, but my word, he's been in the tackles. For a small man, he throws every ounce he's got. Sterling. Oh, well read. David Stevenson doing what he did in the first half, reading the situation well, coming in nicely. Andy Gregory, that's a good kick, using that win, puts Kenny back, but well taken, well taken. The Sin Min Ben coming back on the field, Brent Note and Paul Rose. Peter Sterling. What a good pass, but another good equal tackle. Australia keeping this ball going, but at least these white shirts of Great Britain are getting across this field, tackling far better than we have done. Two youngsters there, Brian Noble and Mike O'Neill, only 22 years of age. That's what Great Britain's got to build off. Steve Rogers, oh, and a beautiful ball to Kenny. Look at that blistering pace. Boosted outside him, it's a formality. And that's the pace. Just when you think that Great Britain are coming into the game, this Australian side can go up a gear, show blistering pace like that, break from Kenny, and they're back in the driving seat at 17-8.
Well, this is sheer class, isn't it? Just watch Steve Rogers, the run around, and watch Brett Kenny fly through this gap. He shows a tremendous amount of pace, and when you give Boosted these chances, well, it's just a walking day, isn't it? He has to be scored, but he doesn't miss this. He's a world-class player and makes it look easy. Great try.
Australia well pleased with that as Neil Courtney, Great Britain sub, waits to come on for Mike O'Neill. Malmeninga having another go at a kicking practice which has become customary for him on this tour. Scored well over 100 points already. Already kicked 4 out of 7 attempts. Lofts it high and he misses it. So the score still remains at 17-8 in Australia's favour. 9 minutes to go, and already that Ashes trophy must be well on the way down under. And Neil Courtney for his first sample of Test match rugby. Another boy obviously brought on to gather 6 or 7 minutes experience, whatever he can at this late stage. Not 10 yards. A kick to Australia for the ball, not going 10 yards. And Max Krilich playing it to Steve Rogers. good tackle straight away from Warrington's prop forward, Neil Courtney on Rod Morris. Peter Sterling. Still going, Wayne Pearce. Lewis. Brentnell again coming in. Wayne Pearce. Oh, well set up by Max Krilich. But for once in his life, Mal Meninga got in the way. Stopped Red Ready from going in. Australia brought on Ray Brown for Les Boyd, but they still don't get any better with the scrum figures. It's on one area which Great Britain at least have monopolised, but sadly we've done so little with the ball. Come on! Neil Courtney bringing it away. Oh, there's the strength of the tackle that can force the ball out of a man. Brett Kenny again, what pace this player's got. Oh, and a beautiful inside pass. Oh, what a try. What a try this is going to be. Magnificent rugby. Magnificent rugby. Well, an old friend of mine, Stan McCormick, a great test wingman of the 50s, said to me, if you've got a good back, you can get your backs off a street corner. But these backs have not come off any street corner, I do assure everyone. They've got class, they've got speed, they've got everything. There's the strength of the tackle, and it's that man Sterling again who gets it away. And just look at the blistering pace of this man Kenny. He makes that half break, and the passing, it's all fingertip stuff, leaving Rogers straightforward chance. You don't stop 15.5 stones so near the line. Ray Price with his arm in plaster there. A friendly word for Mal Meninga. Australia not only going to be the first touring side ever to go home unbeaten, they've already smashed the aggregate points record for any touring side in Test match rugby in this country. And that takes them further ahead. 5 minutes to go, Australia, 22 points to 8. At least we have seen some pride from Great Britain, we have seen some heart, and hopefully there might be a coach somewhere that's seen something to build on. Peter Sterling, what a fine test series this young man's had, this Australian number 7. He came over as the reserve to Mortimer. Rod Ready. Well, what a fine game he's had on this cold day. He's all the way from the 80, 90 degree temperatures in Rockhampton, Queensland, but he's served his country well here. And what a length of a pass, fully 40 yards there to Wayne Lewis. And he's still going. Mal Meninga. He's still going. Well, that shows you how to hand off. It must be like hitting a brick wall when you hit this Meninga. Another 40-yard pass. Well, they're toying with us now. Wayne Pearce striding for the line. That's pace. This is a masterly exhibition from what must be one of the greatest sides in rugby ever to tour in this country. There's just no holding them. And that man, number 13, the sensation of this tour, Wayne Pearce. Max Krilich, the captain, thanks everyone. He knows they've done it. Congratulations all round as they set off to conquer France in the morning. They have a 3-week tour of France. And in this movement we see every everything that Australia has brought to this country, the strength and the size of players like this man Malwin. Just look at those, they go down like 9 pins. Then the backing up and the distribution as they get the ball away. Another easy one to Malmeninga. 27 points to 8. Moving the ball out wide, fully 45 yards. And this boy Pearce, remember this man is a loose forward. And just look at him go. No stopping him. He's full of life, he's full of beans, he's exuberant. Andy Gregory puts the ball down. A little variety from Mick Crane. Still playing Wayne Lewis. Can he go the length of the field? But this man surely can. Brett Kenny, the man of the match. Just look at that for pace. Oh, magnificent. This is an exhibition of skills which we haven't seen like in this country for years. Brett Kenny just declared the man of the match. This standoff from Parramatta. No wonder they won the championship in Australia with players like this. And all it came was from a half break. Classic try. Kenny wrong foots everybody. He has David Stevenson with his back to the opposition, something he must never do in rugby, and he wrong foots him. He looks puffed, he looks to be sore, he looks to be aching. But I'm sure at that reception which the Assistant Governor General New South Wales is giving for this team in Leeds tonight, he'll be happy. And here it is, this man, yet again. Six goals already to his credit. And now it goes up to 7. And when we think that at half-time this score was 6 points to 4 in Australia's favour, and now at full-time it's 32 points to 8, it just shows you something of the fitness of this side. Tries from Rebo, Krilic, Kerry Bowstead, Steve Rogers, Pearce and Kenny. That takes some beating. Goals from Malmeninga. It's almost like a kick in practice for him. And these Ashes are going back to Australia. The first side ever to do so. 15 matches. And this crowd, although they're a little stunned, although they're a little upset at the exhibition against Great Britain in the last 10 minutes, I think they've had full reward for their money this afternoon. We've seen an exhibition of skills, the likes of which I don't think we'll see again for a long, long time. 15 points in the last 10 minutes, and not just 15 points coming from anything, but 15 points coming from spectacular rugby, from speed, and they should soon be receiving the Ashes trophy. The crowd milling around, I think, to give these Kangaroos their due accord. I know we've been disappointed, I know we've felt humbled and humiliated, and rugby league players have been sort of wandering round the streets like punch-drunk boxers, wondering what they could do, but at least we're staying on to give them their due deserve. And here come the Australians. They brought this Ashes trophy over with them, of course. They last won it in 1978, and here they are to take this splendid trophy back with them. Having won all 3 Dominion Insurance tests, their hooker, Max Krilic, will surely go down in the Hall of Fame. And their coach there, Frank Stanton. He toured as a player and won the Ashes in 1963. He coached the winning Ashes side in 1978. He coached the winning side in 79. And here he is, seeing his players go up in 1982 for his 3rd successive Ashes winning campaign. Max Krilic, that hooker, how well he's played his he lifts that Dominion Insurance Trophy aloft, receives it from Mr. Douglas Horn, the general manager, and the clapping there certainly shows what at least we think of them in this country.
Well, there it is at half-time. We thought we had a match at full-time. We know that we had another mismatch. The Australians convincing victors by 32 points to 8, an avalanche of points at the end. Of course, we rather suspected that would happen because the Australians, perhaps more than any other team we've seen for a very long time, play this game to the full 80 minutes. They really seem to get better as time goes on. And the heart torn out of the Great Britain side, I think particularly by Wayne Pearce, and of course by the man of the match, Brett Kenny. Alex, would you agree with my judgment there, Wayne Pearce and Brett Kenny?
Well, I said it before half-time that Wayne Pearce had to start running, and Craig did say he's got to start running in the middle, which he did. Now, once he starts running onto the ball, he's got tremendous pace, he's a big lad, and this is what he does best. But I'm delighted with this Kenny. I think he's a superb footballer. He came over here a second choice, by the way, and that just proves you what you can do when you put your mind to it.
Craig, there was some hope springing in British hearts at half-time. We're not really surprised now about what happened. I mean, that's the way the Australian game goes, isn't it?
Well, as you said at the start, it's an 80-minute game. Like, if British players want to play for 40 minutes, well and good, but it's an 80-minute game, and our blokes stuck to their discipline, and I was very impressed with them and very proud of them.
Did you ever doubt that that would happen, that it would turn out this way, particularly at half-time?
No, never. You never doubt. There's too many good players there, and the discipline. If you're behind, you just keep plugging away, and the tries come.
Well, thank goodness there is one thing we have to celebrate, and that's a Great Britain try. We've waited for an awfully long time. 7 test matches, I think it was, since we've seen a Great Britain try. Let's have a look.
And it was a good try, because just watch Mick Crane here. It's a lovely ball, and David Stevenson does well. He takes the man out, still wants to be scored this try, and Evans does well. He gets over Kenny. Good try. We've waited a long time for that. 230-odd minutes.
The important thing, Alex, I mean, should there have been more tries for Great Britain, really?
Well, I'm not too disappointed with that performance. I mean, the score, all right, in the end, it was a runaway victory. I think there's been a little bit more effort and commitment there from these lads than what there has been from the first two. I think we can build on that. I think we can go there in 1984, super side or no super side, and give them again.
Surely, though, we were handicapped by the loss of Lee Crooks, who really played well, but I mean, his temper was getting the better of him, wasn't it?
Well, I think he fell for the 5-card trick. He went with Les Boyd, and Les had needled him a bit, experience more than he did. As you notice, Les stayed on the field, and I think he should have been sent off. Maybe that'll teach him a lesson. If you're going to do it where nobody can see you. Now, he didn't. He did it right in front of the referee's nose and right under the sticks, and we would have pulled him without that.
Such a pity, though, because he was having a really good game until then.
Yes, and I would say now to him, if he's learned a lesson from that, all well and good. But I hope he has.
Craig, have you seen Great Britain players here this afternoon who you think can do well in Australia in 1984?
Well, no, not really. They'll have to pick up their game a tremendous amount. Their defence, they go in probably for 2 or 3 tackles. The defence is good. The last 3 tackles, in a set of 6, they just seem to fall away. They've got to just have more commitment.
So where's the work got to be done? I mean, has the work got to be done in training on the field like that?
Well, it's got to start at the top. It's got to start at from the manager downwards.
Yeah. And is that likely to happen, Alex?
Now that is the $50 question, isn't it? What we do in this country is amusing to a lot of people. You saw the comedy of errors we've had this week. I hope that we do sort it out. I hope they were honest enough to say we have had a thrashing and we can learn from it.
All right, but let's not detract from the Australians because they have given us some magnificent enjoyment, haven't they? I mean, what are the highlights in your memory?
The highlights is that they're a great side, and they've brought people back to the terraces. They've entertained, they've done everything what's good in rugby league, and I think that's good for rugby league. I would say this is the best Australian tourists ever to tour Australia, and for the people who knocked them, eat your heart out.
And this man, Wayne Pearce, I don't know if we can actually see some of Wayne Pearce in action, but he's quite a player, isn't he?
Well, he's a superb lad, and you know, this is a second row forward, come loose forward. Just watch the lad, watch the pace. Now this is where he runs best. He flies down Smith, and Smith's no cockroach. You know, he just flies down him. He looks like a three-quarter, doesn't he?
Is there any hope at all of us finding players like that?
No, when you've gone, I think he's bionic. I honestly do. I think they've had him made on this tour. They've been to Japan before they come here.
So what can we do? I mean, do you think that we really have learned lessons from playing against the Australians, from seeing the Australians?
Yes, we have. And I would think that all our, from coaching level downwards, we've got a lot to prove. And we've got to get into it and say, yes, to come to their standards, we've got to be honest and say we've got to work to do. I think we will do it.
A lot of it really depends on the clubs, though, on people like yourself at Wigan and other clubs, isn't it?
Well, I have no complaints about my club. We give them a game. We did score a try against them, 13-9, and I think we're the only club who has given them a decent game.
Yeah.
But yes, it does come from the clubs. But let's not forget, the clubs have leant over backwards to this last presentation of the series. And if that's the result, I'm afraid the clubs are going to have to do a bit more work.
It's an interesting comparison to make, Craig. I mean, have you found that the clubs in this country, as you've gone round playing club games, are less professional than Australians?
Oh, most definitely. It's that's where it starts, at club level. If the players are not professional at club level, when they get to international standard, it rubs off. That's where it's got to start.
Can we ever be that without being full-time professionals and highly paid?
Well, people get the wrong attitude with Australia. We're not full-time professionals. I'm a policeman as well as a rugby player, and it just comes back to your personal dedication and what do you want to achieve out of the game.
Yeah. What is this about policemen in Australia with Mal Meninga and yourself and that sort of thing? You get plenty of time off.
No, we work hard and we just make the sacrifices and it's paid off.
Yeah. Do you think, Alex, that the lessons will really go into the clubs?
I think it will. By the way, I don't think they catch many criminals over there, because they're training a lot, but with policemen like him, he wants to be a criminal.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it will. I think we'll learn from it. I do think we'll improve from it. And we'll start from today. And let's see in 1984, who knows?
Yeah, the best we can hope for is that the message will really go home to the clubs, to the players, that this is the kind of standard that surely it must be possible to achieve or at least get close to.
Well, I think if people are honest with themselves and say we've a lot of hard work, and I'm saying to the players, the people who are taking a lot out of the game, and that some of them are not putting a lot back in. We've got a lot of work, so let's get stuck into it.
Well, we have been joined in our little commentary box now by the Secretary General of the Rugby League, David Oxley. David, there are all sorts of difficult questions that could be asked of the Rugby League after what has been, so far as Great Britain are concerned, a fiasco, really.
I think that's putting it a bit hard. We knew these horses were good and they've shown us the way. We also know that we're not as strong as we might be and attitudes have got to change, as Alex has said. We've got to look at the way the game's governed, we've got to look at the structure of the competitions. It's clubs and players as well as administrators and everybody in the game pulling together. But I think that there was a spirit here today which was absent from the first two matches, and the crowd felt it too. We've got a lot of work to do, but I think the resolution is there. We should have learnt this in 78 and 79. We didn't. I'm sure the lessons have gone home now, and I'm sure we'll see a big improvement.
But the spectators were told that we'd be preparing for this quite seriously for 2 years. Surely something as basic as selection should have been well sorted out in those 2 years, and that selection seems to have been almost up in the air all the time.
Well, yes, I mean, I'll say that I think the selection process is wrong. I think even amongst the sectors there's now a consensus that feels that 8 men drawn exclusively from the council isn't the best way of doing the job. And I would agree with that personally. But certainly, as I say, the lads today discovered the pride. Some good performances from young players. There are some good young players around. The incentives are there. And as Alex has said, it's up for the lads now and the coaches of the clubs to respond, and for us in administration as well to put our house in order.
Is the method of selection likely to change? I mean, surely we ought to have a system as they have in soccer, where one man chooses the squad, picks the players, takes the responsibility.
The man whose head's on the block should have the choice. I've always said that, and I've no reason to change, and I'm sure the series has endorsed it.
And you think that there are some real lessons to be learned, even out of the ashes, if I can use perhaps an appropriate word, of this kind of defeat?
That's right, and the British Phoenix will rise from the ashes, so watch out in 84.
Yeah. Alex, that's an interesting point on selection. That's my personal opinion, that there should be one man who picks the squad, then one man who picks the team, one man to carry the can. Do you agree?
Well, let me put it this way. There's only... we employ coaches in rugby league, and the directors do not select side. And yet we come to a national level, and we have 8 people, some a little bit biased, some who want to pick their own men, some who don't pick on ability, and one man. I am disappointed that Johnny Whiteley stood up and counted and said, I am in charge of this side, my head's on the chopping block, and I want to pick the side. And if he gets sacked saying that, all well and good, and that should have come out 2 years ago.
David?
I agree entirely, and I've said it, not been always popular saying it, but I've said it and say it again. Absolutely right. The man whose head's on the block should have the choice, and then he stands and falls by that.
Well, the exemplar selection of course was given to us by the Australians, who were never really put under any pressure. You were able to feel the same side in the first 2 tests. You only made changes in the last test due to injury. Do you know that it would go that way? I mean, are you sure that the same team will turn out to do it in each test?
No, not really. That's the point. It's probably made the side as good as it is. There's the players there with equal ability, which puts on every individual player in their position, which keeps you honest every game. You can't 1 week and so have a rest this week, because if you do, and have a bad game, you drop.
So it's the strength in depth of the Australian team.
Of course
The
it
fact
is.
that you've got good players behind you that keeps you there.
That's right. The whole 28 players won the Ashes, not just the 15 who run on the paddock.
So, David, we need 28 players of this quality.
We tried 31, didn't we? And we're still some way to go. At least we know that, and we should work hard.
Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. So there it is from Headingley, a little piece of sporting history made this afternoon. The Australians all conquering. We hope you've enjoyed it. A very good evening to you.